Can everyone hear me? Oh, wow, I'm loud. Uh, all right, everyone. So good afternoon. I'm the founder and CEO of Chakra Tech. We are a startup based in next door. Actually, I didn't have to walk very far to come here. You can see my booth here. Okay, actually, so for our company, what we work is biodegradable plastic. And what I want to tell you is that compared to just a century ago, we have something more in common than we had 100 years ago. And that is we're all more plastic. And it is no surprise that we are ingesting a credit card worth of plastic every week in microplastic that ends up in our bloodstream, kidneys, heart. And most recent study even pointed out microplastics infiltrating our brain. It's a 0.5% plastic by weight. And this is part of multiple studies that have come out just in the last 2 months. Well, is there a solution? Are we supposed to just sit? Well, actually, nature has the answer for this. So over billions of years, well, we can't see the title, but I think I'll say it out for you. So over billions of years, nature has figured out how to store carbon in the form of these green storage granules. They're a type of biopolyester. This biopolyester degrades. It's a type of biodegradable plastic that degrades naturally in 90 to 180 days. And let's say if it lands in soil or marine environment, it will degrade back to elements CO2 and water. So we can make marine buoys, like going back to the port story that we heard earlier. All right, so not only that, at Chakra Tech, we are pushing the technology to its limit. We are using greenhouse gases like CO2 and methane and feeding them to the engineered microbes to be able to make the biopolyester and enabling a low carbon index material. And this material can be used to make anything ranging from food grade packaging to medical grade packaging. And as far as the medical or food grade packaging is concerned, we're actually pursuing this as a first case of our platform technology, where we have an obtainable market of $300 million just in the flexible food grade. And this is just one use case of our platform technology. All right, so if this is so appealing, are other people doing it? Yes, of course, they're doing it. Our competitors are focused on, so Danimer and CJ, they use food crops. So they're using sugars or vegetable oil to convert the carbon into PHA, which is the polymer that we make. There are other competitors who use greenhouse gases to make it, but where we are bridging is a robust integration of strain engineering with process engineering and enabling us to keep an eye on the scaling up of the technology because we need to make a lot of this polymer. How are we going to make money? So we are exploring multiple avenues. First is licensing the technology, but we're also exploring, eventually being able to build our own biomanufacturing facility where we are able to take it to production of kilotons to million tons eventually. And I'll elaborate more towards the end about some of the partnerships that we are exploring. Right, so the team behind, we are spread out globally. I think we all have common science and engineering background, but love for entrepreneurship. I was at Scripps before I started working on Chakra Tech, but I want to give a shout out to Brandon. So Brandon has been involved in scaling up of a similar technology where they use greenhouse gas as a feedstock, so giving us a strategic advantage on our team. I also want to give a shout out to our advisors. We are very fortunate to have a wonderful set of advisors, including the world's leading expert on carbon greenhouse gas metabolism. She's at SDSU. So what a coincidence that everybody's in San Diego. And on the business side, I also want to give a shout out to Jim and Liz, who have been helping us think very strategically about how to think about some of the critical business elements as well as policy elements that are needed to enable this technology. And also a shout out to the advisors from the Brink. You're not going to see any of the headings. So it's all good. All right, so here we're talking about some timelines and milestones. So we set up the lab earlier this year at Aquillius, so May 29th. And between then and now, we were fortunate to have received training grant support from multiple agencies And this enabled us to recruit 30 total interns, 20 of them engineers. That helped us reach some key milestones. We have our own custom test devices, and we are able to prototype. This is 3D printed pickleball that our interns printed. We also made our own mobile and web platform for data management, because that's a key part for any biotech to survive. Or actually, for the number of things that we are doing, we need to take care of the data, and we are able to make it our in-house platform. We also have bioreactors and cell disruptors. You should come check it out after the presentations. And in total, we have raised $500,000 in donations. So it's a for-profit operating as a nonprofit. And we are very fortunate to have received a lot of support from San Diego community. And here is where I want to give a shout out to our partnership with 2 customers. So we are working with one publicly traded company, whose name I'm not allowed to disclose yet, and also another startup based out of LA region for sustainable food packaging development. So stay tuned for more news. And we are going to meet a couple of key milestones in the next few months. And then we're going to embark on a seed round of $5 million. And we're going to be pursuing a small scale and a full scale go-to-market strategy. All right, so I just want to invite you to come join our journey to forever change how we think about microplastics. Microplastics are not even going to be a problem with this kind of plastic. And I want you to come partner with us and join our journey. And if you have any thoughts on meeting your sustainability goals, come please speak with me afterwards. Thank you. We are Chakra Tech, and we are transforming greenhouse gases into biodegradable plastics. Any questions? Yeah.
So your product, do they require any special recycling in order to actually be biodegradable? Because there are things that are labeled packaging now that is biodegradable, but our systems don't support it.
Yes.
It still goes into the landfill.
Great example. So actually, if you go to Vons today and you buy plant-based compostable solutions, they're actually made of this polymer called PLA, polylactic acid. It is not supported by any of the recycling or compostable facility, because I think there are only 150 in the US that support it. But the challenge with that still is that it takes 100 years to degrade. Our polymer, it's degradable under natural conditions. So let's say if it ends up in landfill or in marine environment, it will degrade on its own. So in theory, it does not require any new facility, but there's a new paradigm. We know recycling doesn't work, right, in current format. But let's say if this polymer, you throw it in an anaerobic digester where there are these microbes. Microbes have also evolved enzymes to degrade it. So they will eat up this pickleball and will convert it into PHA. So you've got back to, this is a true definition of closed loop, of a circular economy. Good question, thank you.
It's great to see your company's growth since a few months ago, especially your team. For the first time that you presented, you had, your team was 3 pictures of yourself, you, yourself, and yourself.
Yeah, yes.
How it's grown.
Yeah.
I just had a quick question about how you're going to scale the manufacturing process. I know you've set up your setup there back in the lab. What are your thoughts around scaling that beyond the prototype level?
Yes, so great question, Leah. So, well, first, actually, when I fished for the first time, I did not know what team looked like. So that's where I had a picture of myself with cowboy hat and handlebar mustache. I was like, oh, that's my team. But we had actual team this time. So this scale, for the second part, the bioreactors that we have in lab, they're 10-liter working volume. Eventually, we want to take it to 1 million liters, right? So the scale up needs to happen at an order of magnitude level each time. So we take it from 10 liter to 100 liter to 1,000 liter to 10,000 liter to 100,000 liter, going up to 1 million. How does that happen? So to enable that, so we are not going to set up a 100-liter reactor immediately. For that, we envision partnership with CDMOs, so these contract manufacturing organizations that will do the scale up. So we provide them what we have successfully been able to test at lab, and they will help us take it to next stages. And then eventually, when this has been tested, at least at 10,000 liter level or 100,000 liter level, we can start raising money to build a very expensive $100 million facility to do it on our own. But until that happens, we want to explore the CDMO route. Another great question.
Sorry, can I?
Yes, please jump. We
Yes.
can't see you, so we'll think you're the god. You know.
Okay. Mine is not a good question, but I've lost you for like 20 seconds. So you have a lot of competitors, no? And what are you planning to be different? Because
Great
I've
question.
lost you when you
No.
Okay.
Message well received. So yes, so out of the 4 competitors that I showed, 3 of them are US based, and unfortunately, the manufacturing in general is expensive in the US. So the cheapest price that gets, the manufacturing cost in the US is roughly $7 a kilo for this polymer. And so this is where the advantage part of it comes in. So our raw material is cheap. If we use greenhouse gas based feedstock, that already lowers our cost. But the second advantage is we are also exploring building the biomanufacturing facilities in Mexico and India, which brings the cost further down. So that's what we are thinking on the commercial side. But technologically, I think the challenge has been that people either approach it from a purely scientist perspective or an engineering perspective. And there's a lot of gaps at the integration level. So this is where we come in, that while we build this technology in lab, we are continuously thinking about what are the parameters we need to meet at a scale-up level. So at technology level, we are also integrating our science and engineering so that the scale-up is easier. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Any questions from the audience? All right.
All right. Thank
Oh.
you, Chakra Tech.
There's one question.
Question was gross margin numbers.
Right. So again, this is based. So we are at the R&D bench level. So the companies. So I can give you an example of one of the Korean companies, CJ Bio. They are selling their product at $20 to $30 a kilo. I don't have the exact number, but I was able to catch hold of their team, and their manufacturing cost in Indonesia is $3 a kilo. So $15, that seems like I think we can almost be similar, $2 to $3 a kilo. Yes, and the good thing is, and I didn't get into the CAGR. So across the globe, there is push from 20 to 40%. There's in the EU, there's green directive that's been signed, and I'm sure you kept up with the law that Gavin Newsom signed this past week as well. So that's projected to take off. So there's plenty of demand where we can all, at least there's room for multiple competitors, and incumbent can stay as well. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chakra Tech.